TruckWorld TV, sponsored by Auto Trader Trucks.
Welcome back to TruckWorld TV, where Rob's Parcels arrived at the massive My Hermes distribution hub in Warrington.
Driving along any of the UK motorways, I'll guarantee you've done the same as I have. Looked at these distribution hubs just like this and thought to myself, actually, doesn't look like there's much going on there. There's lots of trailers, but no one around. Well, take it from me, this is just like the calm before a very, very busy storm.
This hub can handle a staggering 1 million parcels a day. And other than initial unloading, most of the sorting is done by computer-controlled conveyor belts, whilst outside there's a constant flow of trucks and shunters bringing more parcels in and taking sorted parcels out.
Although it looks quite complex, the actual fundamentals are very simple indeed. What you've got is a parcel that's arriving over here and getting dispatched over there. And if you think about it, it's a little bit like an airport for parcels. You've got arrivals and you've got departures.
Oh, remember Rob's present? Well, that's been unloaded and is currently on the conveyor system where it will stay until it reaches a relevant drop-off chute that is linked to the vehicle that takes a parcel from Warrington onto a smaller distribution hub like the one we saw earlier in Bolton.
Okay, here I've got with me Martin Delange, who's the COO, or Chief Operating Officer. Martin, that's a very fancy title. What does it actually mean you do?
Yes, well, it means that I'm responsible for the full operations for Hermes. So that's basically the hubs, the trunking, transport, the depots, the sub-depots, the couriers, the parcel shelves and customer service. So that's what I'm responsible for.
That sounds like a lot of people and a lot of trucks, and a lot of vans as well. I mean, when you look at the trucks, I mean, how big's the truck fleet and how big's the van fleet?
So we have around 250 tractor units and 1,500 trailers, and we have around 500, 600 vans. But of course, there's also some other parties involved that we outsource to that, of course, have fleets that work for us. But our own fleet is around that size.
One of the other things that we're talking about in the truck series completely is the fact that, and we find out people say more and more, is trying to get drivers, truck drivers.
Yes.
And is that an urban myth, or is it really something that impacts on your business?
No, it really impacts. So European legislation has really created a shortage, I think, in the UK. But we've got our own driving schools, so we're really trying to educate our people in the warehouse to become drivers. So we're really trying to stimulate that, making sure we create our own drivers. But it is something we'll have to watch. So we have, of course, our own drivers, but we have a number of parties that also work for us to make sure we spread the risk, especially because we have that massive peak uplift where we have twice the volume. So we have a short window of maybe 3 months in a year where we almost need double the amount of drivers. And that makes our business complicated given some of the driver shortages we have in the UK.
Well, that's it. Rob's Parcels on its way to a depot, then from the depot going to a van, and from the van onto his offices. Let's hope that Rob gets the present that he truly deserves.
I've got to say, mate, we see some fantastic factories and innovations, but that sorting plant was incredible.
Unbelievable, mate. And lack of people, really, more than anything else. But it's just ultimate, 1 million parcels.
We've got to stop buying stuff.
I know.
No,
exactly.
we haven't. We're going to keep going. And speaking of which, here it is, my parcel.
Yeah.
15 years I've had no birthday presents, no cards. What have I got? Did you wrap this, Tim?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, exactly. Right. That's nice.
A gift certificate for Tim Campbell's School of Charisma.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect, if you ask me. OK, well, we'll leave Rob with his charisma lessons. Personally, I don't think he's going to do him any good whatsoever. But for me, it's time for the road test. And this week, we've got something a little bit special. First of all, it's electric, which you don't normally associate with heavy trucks. And secondly, it's from China, a country not normally known for the motoring heritage.
This is the Tevva 7.5 tonner urban delivery vehicle and is a combination of all new electric technology matched to a JAC chassis. Not heard of JAC? Well, they're a big noise in China where they produce more than 500,000 trucks a year.
Now, I can hear you shouting at the telly, you said it was an electric truck. Well, it is, it's really a hybrid. We've got here is a diesel engine at 1.6, it's derived from a Ford engine, rated at 100 horsepower, and this tops up the battery. In fact, the diesel engine isn't actually connected to the rear wheels. On our normal road test, we don't actually go into the back of the truck itself because there's nothing there to see really. But here it's a little bit different because this is where all the work goes on. It's actually how we take the power from the front to actually the back axles itself. And we've got here a battery management system, and that's the electronics itself. You've got the motor there, which is halfway along, and that's connected up to a prop shaft. And obviously the prop shaft, as it does in a traditional truck, then connects to the rear diff, and that's how we get the power to the rear wheels. Now the diagram's here because obviously it's a demonstration vehicle, but it does give you a good understanding of actually what goes on underneath the body.
The floor is completely flat, and the aluminium steps seen here are just for show stand purposes.
Once you get in the cab, as you can see, it looks like a standard cab. Obviously there's a few things in it because it's a demo and a test vehicle at the same time. But the couple of things that really hit you straight off is I've only got 2 pedals on the right hand side there, and there's no gear lever. What we do have is 3 buttons. Now, red, yellow and green. I hesitate because I'm colourblind. Somebody's very kindly put also what they are, which is forward, reverse and neutral. So a very, very simple standard cab to me, a typical urban delivery vehicle cab that we've got.
Walk around complete? Well, it's now time to get on the road.
Start up relatively simple. Turn the key onto position 2. Then we get flashing lights, a yellow and a green light, and then we wait for the dial to go up to say, hey, yeah, it goes through a little sync routine. You know what they're like nowadays with electronics, checks everything, make sure everything's working correctly. Then what I do then is I press it again, I just turn once more, and then I get the solid lights, which are the yellow and green one, and then it goes out there and tells me it's in neutral. I've got my foot on the brake, I literally just press green, let my foot off, obviously let the handbrake go, and then it goes before you even put your foot on the accelerator. It's already wanting to go. And the power, as you'll see, is instantaneous. It's absolutely brilliant. Fantastic for urban delivery. Can't beat it. The obvious thing is, it's so quiet. I'm doing now 50 kph, or 30, 35 mile an hour, and you'd think you were actually still. There's no sound whatsoever. In front of me, it tells me that the dial tells me if I go to the right, it's drawing power from the battery, and if it points to the left, it's actually adding power in, and I add power in by doing the regen. So when I'm braking, it actually regenerates and pushes power into the battery itself. So it's not as case of just draw power out of the battery. It's actually draw, put some in, draw, put some in, and I've got an indication here that tells me what I'm doing. As for the vehicle itself and the cab environment, nice and bright and cheerful. It's a typical, to me, Isuzu, typical Asian cabbed vehicle. Very low to the ground, so you get great visibility as well. I think this is probably the first Chinese truck I've actually road tested. So first impressions, yeah, it's typical Asian truck. A little bit plasticky, but I mean, that's what you expect. The big thing about it is the fact that it's lightweight. The whole idea of the Asian vehicles they're lightweight, they're not too complicated, and this is exactly what you get. So certainly in terms of just seeing it different between a Chinese truck and a Japanese truck, I don't see that much difference. So actually, is this a practical vehicle? This vehicle, when it is in a domain like we're having here, which is a delivery environment, and certainly when you get into anybody that's got LEZs or low emission zones, which we're going to get more and more. Let's face it, we're not going to get less at LEZs, we're going to get emission zones around the cities, we're going to get more. So this vehicle and vehicles like this, I think has got a very, very strong future. When I started off this piece, I said it was electric and Chinese. Certainly an unproven combination in the UK, that's for sure. Now I've driven it, I think, yeah, this makes a lot of sense. I can see this working in an urban delivery environment, and certainly over the next few years, I can see this being the future.
Impressive solution with that Tevva, it looks, and I guess it makes sense for what it's designed for. It's not designed for up and down the motorway, is it?
No,
It's inner
exactly.
city
Again,
deliveries.
urban delivery, those sort of areas.
But do you think this problem we have of getting young people excited about the industry, in a way that's at odds, as when you ask drivers what's your favourite, it's always, oh, I like the V8 Scanias, I like the big V8 Volvos. They never say, oh, I love the 2.5 litre super efficient.
No,
diesel.
drivers are drivers. In the fact that, you know, you might get an owner driver who says, actually, yeah, I love that, but also we've got to get total life costs right. We've got to make it efficient. What's the point in running a truck if you're losing money? So that's when you've got to look at alternative fuel opportunities.
Even if they're not as exciting to drive?
There's always a balance.
Well, we put that question to the drivers here at T-Bay. Basically, big V8 or efficient, more economical, more money-making, smaller, more effective, efficient engines.
Personally, diesel for me every time. I mean, what size battery are you going to need to pull a 44-ton truck? You're going to need a 28-ton battery, so therefore no load capacity. So diesel all the time for me.
Rather diesel, I think. At least I know I'm going to get down and get back. You know, with electric, you know, if something goes wrong, it's not charged up, well, you're stuck in it. You know what I mean?
I still say it's got to be diesel, because what you've got to do, you're going to put electricity plugs in and take queues for sitting for hours waiting to charge up their batteries or whatever. I generally don't see how it'll work.
It depends on what the range is going to be. We know what's happening with the cars that do 110 mile and you stop for electricity, and it's going to take 2 days to get down to London, and that sort of stuff. I don't know what a truck would take. I mean, it's be obviously using more energy, and it's more weight on the road as well, more than the weight of diesel.
And thanks as always for the drivers at T-Bay for being such good sports and chatting to us. Well, that's it for another episode. Please check out the website, truckworldtv.co.uk, and as Tim said at the start, keep those tweets and emails coming.
Thanks very much indeed, and bye-bye.
See you next time.
TruckWorld TV, sponsored by Auto Trader Trucks.